I always say that my journey is a bit wonky. In schooling, basically, I've gone to about 9 different schools. So I've always traveled around, and I jokingly say that we've always moved around because, like, when rent is supposed to go up, then my father decided, let's just up and leave. But that's not the reason. In terms of my official career, I've basically started marketing. And I spent about 18 months doing advertising. And from there, then I worked at a wind farm. That kind of introduced me to the whole community aspect and kind of giving back. So social entrepreneurship, as I later learned about it. I did that for 4 years, and then I ventured into lecturing. I did that for 4 years, and I got bored. And it was around about the time where this whole movement in South Africa about data must fall came about. So I started playing around about how do we actually get internet. So, like, firstly, what is the internet? What is data? Where does it come from? And then I watched a movie, strangely enough, American Gangster. I'm not sure if you have watched the movie, but that's pretty much about going directly to the source of the drugs and then kind of cutting out all the middlemen along the way. So that was kind of my whole idea with this whole data must fall venture. How do I set up a business that kind of sells internet directly without having to go through all this middlemen? And that kind of took me on a whole whirlwind path. And then I started the business ResON. So initially it was called like ResFact, Responsible Factory, for all this responsible business I wanted to start. And then with the data must fall movement and kind of that whole brainchild that I had, I registered ResON, which is responsible online. And pretty much, yeah, I don't have a garage, but if I had a garage, the business would have started in the garage. But and now we. When I started, like when I decided that I want to go into business, I've always obviously read like a lot of books. One of the books I read, fairly big book, Richard Branson's story, like the first part, as he puts it. And it kind of, I got the idea from how we started Virgin, with like he removed it from himself. He wanted something that was separate from him, but a business on its own. And that's kind of when like I looked for a name. I looked for a business that represented me, but had nothing to do with me. So why I mentioned the wind farm and stuff, that kind of introduced me to wanting to do things for the community, but it's still commercially viable. Like I said, I later found out that they call it social entrepreneurship. But that's always been like at the heart of what I do. I got involved with an NGO at about 13 years age, when I was 13 years old. And like since then, it's always been a community aspect to what I do in every area of my life. So in business, the same story. That's where the whole responsible side kind of came in. So like everything I want to do, there needs to be a responsible element in terms of what you give back to the community, what the impact of the business is for society as a whole, for developing. I'm quite passionate about South Africa and Africa as a continent. So for me, the business kind of represented that, even with the logo, because I can point just right up to it. When the online thing came about, it was pretty much how do we take this little business and grow it to kind of have an impact on the continent. So at the bottom, you've got this little stick man, which is also a signal tower, and it kind of shows flowing out and kind of reaching the greater Africa, pretty much. So that's kind of how the name came about.